Hello, readers of Every Word. Welcome to Every Word 365. I'm your host, Christina Munoz Madsen. What was it like for you to read through the details of the crucifixion and not during Easter time? I don't know about you, but I always get super emotional, angry at the people who killed Jesus and sadness over his death. But what we all must remember is that those people still represent us today. Think about that mob mentality and how hard it would have been to stand up for Jesus. While it's easy to condemn Peter for betraying Jesus, how confident are you that you wouldn't have given in to the angry mob? It all happens very quickly, but don't worry, you're going to get more details in Luke. But take a close look at how Matthew ends. First with this: then the 11 disciples left for Galilee, going to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshiped him, but some of them doubted. That's Matthew 28:16-17. As a person who loves to overuse exclamation points, as if you haven't noticed, if you're receiving my emails, I personally love it when there are exclamation points in the Bible. But these people actually saw Jesus die and come back to life, and they still didn't believe. So I think the punctuation is very fitting. And I think it's okay to give ourselves a little slack for having our doubting moments. Am I right? And then the Great Commission. Jesus came and told his disciples, I have been given all authority in heaven and on earth. Therefore, go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I have given you. And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. That's Matthew 28:18-20. There it is, a New Testament command straight from Jesus' mouth. Go make disciples. Jesus is telling his followers what to do in his absence and how to do it through baptizing and teaching, and who to make disciples out of, all nations and people. So this really takes away the concept that Christianity is a private thing and just between God and me. While those things are true, we are commanded to go make disciples, whether we want to, whether we feel like it, or whether we're good at it or not. And I'm including more information on the Got Questions link. Also including more from Got Questions on the Gospel of Matthew, and this is from their practical application. Matthew's intended audience was his fellow Jews, many of whom, especially the Pharisees and Sadducees, stubbornly refused to accept Jesus as their Messiah. In spite of centuries of reading and studying the Old Testament, their eyes were blinded to the truth of who Jesus was. Jesus rebuked them for their hard hearts and their refusal to recognize the one they had supposedly been waiting for. They wanted a Messiah on their own terms, one who would fulfill their own desires and do what they wanted him to do. How often do we seek God on our own terms? Don't we reject him by ascribing to him only those attributes we find acceptable, the ones that make us feel good, his love, mercy, grace, while rejecting those we find objectionable, his wrath, justice, and holy anger? We dare not make the mistake of the Pharisees, creating God in our own image and then expecting him to live up to our standards. Such a God is nothing more than an idol. The Bible gives us more than enough information about the true nature and identity of God and Jesus Christ to warrant our worship and our obedience. Again, that's from gotquestions.org, and I just think it is so good and so powerful. And if you really want more on Matthew, there are more than 200 entries about Matthew on gotquestions.org. So I'm including a link to all of those if you have time to go through them. And I also like to include the Bible Projects Overview video. They're very good and may help you understand the books of the Bible. Matthew is broken up into two, so I'm including a link to that. So what did you think of Matthew? Share your biggest takeaways on our Facebook page. And tomorrow we start Mark, chapters 1-3. Happy reading.